Hello, hello, and welcome to the Cloud English podcast. My name is Luke. It is Friday, October 11th, 2049. Great to have you here. Again, thank you for joining. Today we're going to be talking about, well, a few different things. We're going to be focusing on fluency, but that includes a lot. But exactly what does it include? So I'm kind of going to talk through a kind of checklist that you can think about, right, as you're working on your English learning skills. What are the areas of fluency? I know that sounds like a simple thing, right? But it's important to know because it's such a big concept. So we're going to be talking about that. We'll be looking at a clip from Inside Out 2 and learning some language there. We are going to be, let's see, what else? Learning some phrasal verbs again, which I'm excited about. And something else as well that I can't remember off the top of my head. By the way, I had an idea for a segment and I wanted to get some feedback. So those watching, whenever you're watching, in the comments, let me know if you'd like me to do, this is the idea I had, a news-specific segment. So we take one or two stories from the news and go through it, of course, with the goal of exploring language, culture, and so on, but just as a dedicated segment as part of the podcast. So let me know if you would like something like that, and if so, what type of news stories you'd be interested in, and what you'd like me to really focus on as we work on those. Again, it's just an idea, so let me know if you're interested. Okay, what else? You can get a free course in the links in the description. Of course, 30% off the yearly membership or the monthly membership at the yearly membership price. A very good deal. And let's see, what else is there? The new course, of course, on Udemy, you can grab that. That is the TOEFL course, if you're preparing for the TOEFL, or if you just want to work on your language skills in a very focused and directed way and really challenge yourself. I think it's a great way to push yourself on all of the, let's say, the four main areas of English skill: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And you can get feedback and corrections and practice exercises and all that stuff. What else? I think that's about it. Yes, I think that's about it. Also, if you have any suggestions for apps or AI stuff that you want me to check out, I've been doing more of that in videos recently. I just released yesterday a new video on the Meta AI smart glasses. I did a full review kind of as a language learning tool, right? Are they the future of English learning? And they are. I think they are, but not in the way that you expect. So check out that video too. That's the latest video up on the channel. Okay. I think that's it for the top of the show. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's get into it. Those watching live, welcome. If you want to watch live, you can do that every Friday on YouTube and Facebook at about 1 o'clock, although it's 2 now, so I guess 1 or 2. But I'm trying to make it, between 12 and 1 o'clock. So every Friday you can catch it live. If not, those watching later, those listening later, you're welcome to do that on YouTube and Facebook. Or you can listen on any podcasting platform. Just search Cloud English, and that should pull it up. Okay? Okay, I know some people like to listen, and I want to make it the listening experience just as good. So if I'm ever not being clear enough or explaining things in a way that's too visual and you would like to hear more, give me feedback. I want to make the listening experience just as good as the speaking experience. And if it's not, well, the feedback is the only way for me to get there. Okay? So before we get to our clip, what we're going to do is get to the clip from Inside Out 2, and then After that, we'll do phrasal verbs. But first, I want to talk through the pillars of fluency, because I think that's a really interesting and important topic. And of course, my pen is malfunctioning. So that is what it likes to do. It likes to, exactly when I don't want it to, it does exactly what I don't want it to do. It's really good at that, and it's really astounding. It's really, really shocking. So I can talk through it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But that's not my favorite. All right. So there is, I think, a pretty general sense of what English fluency means, right? And everyone's going to have a different definition of what it means. If you're fluent in English, does that mean you're native? Does that mean you just use the language well? Does that include things like your reading ability, reading comprehension, or not? Right? Is it just what you say and what you write? Or just what you say, or mostly pronunciation? It's kind of fuzzy. What I'd like to do is provide some of the, what I call pillars, the things that make it up, I believe. We'll talk through each one, and we'll kind of go through the things you can do about them, okay? That's kind of what I want to do. The things you can do about, well, starting with comprehension. So number one, listening comprehension. This is your ability to, of course, understand the world around you. Now, it is made up of different things. So this is not simple. This is not just your ability to hear fast speech, right? It's also your ability to fill in the gaps of what you're listening to when one thing is not clear or there's an unknown word, to fill in the gaps with your knowledge of the language. It's also your ability to make out mumbly, smushed together speech, right? When you're listening to people talk in a movie, they're not talking for you. I am right now, so hopefully you can understand. But people in a movie, they're not speaking so that you will understand. That's not their goal. Their goal is to be part of the story. So there are different kind of levels there. Someone might talk very slowly, but still mush together their speech. You could speak slowly and not clearly too. And then, of course, there are different dialects and accents. There's, accents in American English and British English, all of that. Non-native English speakers from different parts of the world. So listening comprehension is all of that stuff. It's also something we're going to talk about later, cultural references too, where you just don't know what they're talking about. So it's all of that. And of course you need to listen more, but what do you listen to? I think the key thing is to go wide net rather than narrow, right? So if you are thinking about what should I listen to, just my favorite podcast, just nature documentaries, I would encourage you to not do that. Yes, for fun, of course, but go much broader, even to things that you're not particularly interested in. So maybe listen to English in the news, right? Formal English. Of course, TED Talks are great for listening practice, but also informal podcasts from different parts of the world, documentaries, sitcoms from different parts of the world, American English, British English, Australian English. Listen to interviews on YouTube, right? Challenging interviews between people who maybe aren't even native English speakers. Really try to push yourself to get a very wide view. Well, view is, I guess, a visual word, but expand and constantly push into things that are difficult and challenging, Because the more you do that, the wider you go, the wider your net is, right? The more exposure you have to the whole variety of the English language, right? The spectrum of English. And the more exposure you have to that, the more you can start picking things up in those areas. Everything gets easier, right? That's what we want. So when it comes to listening comprehension, don't specialize. Go very broad. And sometimes I recommend doing, very boring but useful exercises where you listen to a specific clip and you have to write down every single word. That's a great way to practice. Okay, what about general speaking skill? Again, this is not simple. It's not just, oh, I'm good at speaking because I speak a lot. Well, what makes up that? What is included in speaking a lot? And why is it that sometimes when I'm relaxed, I can speak better than others? What's going on? This is a complicated thing because each person is a bit different. You have sometimes a person who can explain something clearly but not have a natural conversation, right? Or sometimes people can have natural conversations, but they're not good at explaining things clearly in a presentation, or they get nervous. So confidence is a big piece. Not just confidence, but confidence in different situations, right? So in an interview or talking with friends, speaking casually, making a presentation, all of those are different settings, right? So when it comes to speaking skills, you have to build confidence by pushing yourself in a variety of settings. And so what should you use as a way to figure out, where to push yourself? Because there are so many things you could do. I recommend using fear as a tool to point to the thing that you should do next. Fear. So what are you afraid of doing most? If you move in that direction, that's probably the thing that you're weakest at. Maybe one reason you're afraid of it, right? But if you move in that direction, gradually over time, it's very uncomfortable at first, you build up confidence and a sense of comfort. And then that natural ability to be yourself and just speak will come with it, right? Often the reason we can't speak well is not because we don't have the words and the phrases or the language available. It's that we're nervous in a particular setting, and it causes us to lose our speaking skill, right? Especially if you're nervous. Well, how do you get over nervousness? You have to push in that direction. You've never done a presentation at work? Well, maybe you should, right? Maybe you should sign up in your team to deliver the next update on something, because that terrifies you, right? So I recommend you embrace terror and use it as a tool to point at the thing that you should do next. But that's not the only thing that speaking skill is. Speaking skills also include your ability to organize thoughts in a coherent way. Because if you're always repeating yourself or you're very redundant, people will lose focus. People won't want to listen to you for more than a couple minutes. So you have to be very organized. Again, that takes practice. So learn that skill, the ability to organize your thoughts as you speak. First, practice maybe outlining on a piece of paper, and then speaking, following that outline, and then try to put that outline inside your head as you talk. If you get good at doing that, and you can do exercises with ChatGPT or just recording yourself, if you get good at that, whatever you need to say, it's going to flow naturally, right? Another part of that is improvisational speech. So some people get really good at reading or memorizing and then just blah, 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 moving their mouths in a very nice way so that it sounds good. But the problem is, then you're in a job interview or you're in a conversation, then that's not scripted. Suddenly you're in a challenging situation where you have to sink or swim, right? Well, you have to improvise. Most speech is improvised. So there you have to, let's say, you have to let go of your desire to want everything to be planned out before, right? You have to find some way to just start talking about something. You can do this by yourself. You can sit down in front of a camera or sit down just with your phone on recording. Give yourself a topic like, I don't know, bananas, and then just see how long you can talk about that. It doesn't really matter what it is. How long can you talk about that and piece together thoughts? You're going to discover a lot of things, especially when you listen back to it, that will give you maybe a tip or a clue or a hint for something you can do next time. Okay, now that's just scratching the surface of speaking skills. Of course, the main thing is just do it, right? You have to do it a lot, but do it in different situations and, work on mental outlining, work on improvisational speech where you're just flying solo with no handrails whatsoever. Okay, so that's number 2. So far, we've talked about number 1 and number 2, speaking skills. Imagine I'm writing these down on a blackboard. I can't do it because my stupid pen thinks that all 3 monitors are where I want to write. And so if I try to write a word, it's going to stretch it out. This is stupid, so stupid. I hate it. I'm gonna throw it into the ocean next time I'm there. Next time I'm near an ocean, this is going into the ocean. Is it pollution? Yes, but I think hopefully a shark eats it. Does that count if a shark eats it as pollution, or does that count as food, doing the sharks a favor? The next one, number 3, imagine I'm writing this down, vocabulary expansion. I've talked about this a lot, so I'll just cover it quickly. But the key to expanding your vocabulary is, dun, 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 not lists of vocabulary. The key to expanding your vocabulary is your daily life. You must extract new words from your own experience. The reason you should do it that way is because that provides you a built-in context. I heard this at work. I heard that in a movie. I heard that. I read that in a book. And when you do that, you have an anchor back to it, right? I discovered it here. I went away and I learned it. I learned the meaning. I learned some example sentences. I practiced a few example sentences. I learned the pronunciation. I listened to it a bunch of times until I could master the pronunciation of that word, right? So when you're learning vocabulary, idioms, the same thing, right? You've got to always connect it back to the original context. And you've got to practice example sentences because that's using it in a context. And if you can, look for it in, you can ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT is great for this, but look for it in different contexts. The reason for this is if you have a word in isolation, the reason you forget it probably is because, and you can't use it when you're in that moment when you're looking for that word and you can't find it, is because it doesn't have connections to anything. Right? The reason you can use the words that you know is because that word has multiple connections, right? You heard it on TV, you read it in an article, you overheard it in a conversation, you used it last week, right? So there's different contexts kind of holding it up. And if it doesn't have that, it kind of sinks to the bottom of the lake. It's down there somewhere, but it's hard to find. It's easier to find if it's connected to different contexts. The original one you discovered it in, plus example sentences, articles, wherever you see it, take note, right? Remember where you saw it or heard it or read it. And that will help it stick, right? And make sure you're always using it in example sentences. That's true for vocabulary. That's true for idioms and phrases. Now, I did not say that you shouldn't use flashcards. You can. It's a great memorization tool. Fine. But don't only do that. Make sure you also, have the usage down. Very important. Okay. What about grammar? This is number 4. Imagine I'm writing down number 4. Number 4, grammar. Grammar. Imagine I'm writing it with this pen that will soon be in the ocean. So number 4, imagine I'm on this blackboard over here. Picture this. I wrote it down on this blackboard, watch this. Watch, ready? Now it's going to work probably. Okay, I'm going to write this down. This is me attempting to write this word down. G A M M A. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. Can't believe it. Okay, number 4, grammar proficiency. So, number 1 is listening. Number 2, speaking skills. We're talking about the pillars of fluency here. Number 1 is listening comprehension. Number 2, speaking skills. Number 3, vocabulary. Number 4, grammar proficiency. If you never learn a grammar rule in your life, that's fine. You just need to understand basically how it looks, how it works, and you have to be able to duplicate it, right? So here I think, if you're not using ChatGPT to learn grammar or something like it, Google Gemini or Claude or Meta AI, if you're not using one of these to work on grammar, I don't know what you should be. Because you can take a paragraph and say, basically, explain this grammar, right? Explain how this grammar works and make similar sentences using the same grammar but different meaning. You study the patterns. You break it down. You ask yourself, okay, why is there a comma and then another comma? There's a word between the two commas. Why is that? If you look at it in 2 or 3 different sentences, so same grammar, different meaning, 2 or 3 different sentences, your brain will start to figure it out, right? It's like solving a puzzle. You'll start to see the pattern. Oh, I see. So the beginning of a sentence here, I have this preposition, right? Maybe after the glistening morning dew evaporated from the grass, comma, Cheryl and Danielle, okay? So what's going on there? You have a piece that starts with a preposition. Okay, it's called a prepositional phrase. That doesn't matter. But there's a thing that's descriptive, and then right after that, there's a comma, and then boom. I've got the thing that the sentence is about, the subject, these 2 people, for example. So if you make 3 or 4 example sentences, just say ChatGPT, give me 3 more sentences like this using the same grammar, your brain's going to start figuring it out. Then you make a few sentences. Then you're really figuring it out. Then you can start using that. You can do that for verbs. You can do that for tenses. You can do that for sentence structure. You can do that for syntax. You can do that for basically all of English grammar. And you don't have to ever study a single rule, right? Your brain will start to build its own little rules in the background that are the rules that kind of help you figure out the pattern. You don't even need to know how to say the rule. You just need to know how it works, right? Native English speakers don't know what the rules are. I ask them all the time. They have no idea what any rules are, but they know how to do it. So that's you need to get away from rules and focus on finding the patterns, focusing on the patterns of the grammar by example, looking at examples, making examples. Okay, so that's 4. Number 5, pronunciation and accent. Okay, listening plays a big part in pronunciation because if you're learning English through the phonetic symbols, you're going to miss a few things. They might help you remember what that sound is, but that's not actually helping you make the sound actually. The symbol doesn't tell you exactly how to do the thing with your mouth that you need to do to make the sound, right? So you have to figure out how to do the thing with your mouth that makes the sound. What is pronunciation? Pronunciation is when you move your mouth and your throat, your lips, in a certain way to make noises that sound a certain way. That's it, right? That's why things sound the way they sound. All human language operates like that. Whether it's a click or a zh or a v or a or whatever it is. And so that's simple, right? I posted a YouTube short that started with a parrot speaking English saying metal, baseball, something like that. If a parrot can do it, surely you have a bendy, flexible mouth. You don't have a beak. A parrot has a beak and it's speaking English just fine. So you have no excuses. If you say, I can't make that sound, my mouth, I don't know, I'm from here and people from here just can't do that thing with their mouth, it's nonsense. It's crazy. It's wrong. But if you accept that you can, then your challenge is to take the sounds that you're hearing and find the thing that you have to do with your mouth to make that same sound, right, so that they match. This is really simple, right? So if you hear someone say, unfathomable, okay, unfathomable, break that down. When you say does it sound like in or an? Well, then you've got a vowel thing. So what's the difference between in and un? In and un, in, on, in. All of those vowels, okay? Maybe there's a fa sound. Maybe you're saying fa, fi, fo. Practice the vowels there. Maybe the sound is not soft enough. Maybe you're saying unfathomable, fathomable. I'm saying D. That's not a the sound. So how do I make the sound instead of the sound, right? If you really attune your ears to the sounds you hear and you're very strict about it and you stop thinking about everything as words and you start thinking about everything as sounds, then you have a chance of mastering pronunciation, right? And you can master anything. If you have a strong accent, well, what makes the strong accent sound strong? It's different in different parts of the world. Mispronunciations, for example, among Spanish speakers, Chinese speakers, and Hindi speakers, they all tend to be different, but they also tend to be similar within each native language, right? The classic VB mix-up for native Spanish speakers and the TH issue for native Chinese speakers, or the LN, NM, VW mix-ups as well. So you have to identify those, but again, you can't do that unless you can hear the differences. So that's why listening and pronunciation are so closely linked together. Okay, that's number 5. 3 more. Number 6 is writing skills. Okay, we're on number 6. Imagine I'm writing down writing skills. Just picture what that would be like if I were doing that. Number 6 is writing skills. So you may hate writing and you may not think that it's an important part of the process, but it really is. And the great thing about writing is that there's a time step removed. The immediacy of speaking has its own challenges because you have to get all the words together, put them together in your head and make the noises and say the words in the moment. When you're writing, you are kind of doing that, but you can also pause and step back and look at what you produced. That's the beautiful thing about it, right? You can look at what you made. When you speak, the words, unfortunately, don't float out of your mouth and you can't see them. But when you write something down, when you type something, you can see what you wrote. Now, how do you get better at that, right? First step is, of course, just grammar mistakes. So as you're working on spelling and grammar and punctuation, those, you have to work on those things because they're the basics. If your spelling and grammar and punctuation aren't very good, you need to work on spelling, punctuation, and grammar. But I consider those to be the basics. Why are those the basics? Because if you write something that has poor spelling and poor punctuation and you send that to somebody, they're just going to say, well, you could have at least put that in ChatGPT or used Grammarly and corrected that. That's pretty easy. There's no excuse at this point. So the bar is even higher at this point. There's no excuse for grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes, especially when it's, something formal like a proposal or a, really long email. I sometimes send typos in emails too, but that's because, I'm in a rush or it's not that important for it to be perfect. But if I'm writing a serious email or I'm sending out a promotional email, I read it probably 30 times to make sure it's spelled correctly and the grammar is right. And I check it with Grammarly and ChatGPT, and I really make sure it's correct. But that still doesn't make you a good writer. Being a good writer is more than that. Being a good writer includes structure, how you organize your thoughts. So that is a knowledge of how to put together a paragraph, how to put together multiple paragraphs so that they flow naturally. It's interesting that in the classic sort of paragraph structure and let's say essay structure, there's a similarity. The paragraph structure often has a kind of topic sentence and then some supporting detail and then something at the end that kind of helps it flow into the next paragraph. If it's something longer that's multiple paragraphs, like an article, for example, or an essay, it's going to have a similar structure where there's some, at the beginning, introductory ideas to say what this is going to be about, and then main points all along, and under each main point, some supporting information or examples or details that are going to help those main points make sense, right? So there's a similar kind of structure, and you have to understand how that structure works so that what you write makes sense. Now, the rules are different for things like emails, but with things like emails, there you need to understand not just structure, but tone. So how do you write in a very concise way that's going to make the other person feel that you're very professional, right? Or maybe how do you add detail in a way that's going to make the impact that you want to make? So there, it all comes down to studying lots of different examples. Again, GPT is a great tool for this. So you could say, here's an email that I really like. I want you to tell me what the tone is. Okay, so you try to understand what things make this tone the way it is. Or this is very formal. What makes it formal? What you'll notice is that there will be some specific phrases that make it more formal. I was wondering if we could, instead of I want to, right? One is more formal than the other. More concise, clear, direct language is often, it's very simple and it uses fewer words and there are fewer of those phrases in it. What things make up the different tones that an email could have, for example, or a letter could have, or an essay could have? And taking this email and asking ChatGPT to do it with different tones and then studying those and asking, well, what makes it have this tone or that tone? That's a great process of exploration. So I think for writing, using AI tools, fantastic tool, but also doing a lot of reading books, reading articles. Literature and a nonfiction tend to, let's say a novel, for example, and nonfiction tend to look very different. Novels tend to use slightly more formal language. They tend to have a lot more adjectives. They tend to have way more complicated syntax. There's often more colloquial speech, whereas an article, information, nonfiction is going to be written at about a 6th grade reading level. So you need to know what those look like. So you have to do a lot of reading and take notes, right, on what sort of style differences actually look like in the real world and practice examples that kind of imitate that style. Again, use ChatGPT as a way to do that. And there's a great book called The Elements of Style that I've recommended many times, so that's a good resource as well. The Elements of Style. It's a good book. I've read it a bunch of times. It's a great way to learn how to write clearly and concisely. Okay. 2 more. I wish I had some liquid in here because I'm feeling a little parched. 2 more. Number 7, cultural understanding. So I kind of have referenced this already, but if Bia wants subtitles. This is live, Bia. This is live. I can't give you subtitles live. I wish I could. Be cool if I could. If there's a way to do it, technically, please let me know. Greetings from Poland. I'm just seeing the chat. Diego. Hi, teacher. Luke from Colombia. I'm watching your valuable podcast. Thank you for this opportunity to practice English. Thank you very much, Diego. I appreciate that. Mary McCain, the one and only Mary McCain. Such an epic background, Mary says. Thank you, Mary McCain. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Mary McCain, as always. Number 7. cultural understanding. So, language. Amar is here. Language is culture. Language is how culture is communicated externally. That might make sense. The references that we all know inside of a culture are a very important part of the culture. I've been watching recently, obsessively, Clarkson's Farm. Clarkson's Farm is a show that Jeremy Clarkson is in about a farm that he owns. It's really good. It's on Amazon Prime. It's really good. I love it. Well, it's in the UK. I'm not British. So I learn all kinds of idioms, references, things that I just don't know simply because I'm an American and I didn't grow up in the UK. So I'm always Googling the names that are mentioned, who's this, who's that, people I don't know, things that happen in British history that I don't know, all of these things that I don't know because I didn't grow up there. If you do grow up there, what is the shared experience, the people we know in pop culture, the things that happened in recent history, what each era was like, the local TV shows, right? And things that I just haven't seen growing up. So that stuff is important. When you're learning a language, you need to expose yourself to the cultural side as well, because when native English speakers speak, they refer to these things all the time. Just as you refer to things with your close friends and nobody knows what you're talking about because it's an inside joke. Well, you refer to things with your broader culture, the culture you're part of too, and people who don't know that won't know what you're talking about. If you want to learn the language, you can't just learn vocabulary and grammar. You have to immerse yourself culturally too. You don't have to pick a culture. You can learn, any English-speaking culture, right? But movies and TV shows, and this is your reason to watch all of those things and do what I'm doing with Clarkson's Farm. When I hear something I don't know, a person they reference, I Google it. I go, oh, okay, that's that guy. Okay, got it. Or a thing that I don't know, just blah, blah, blah. Just I look it up. I search it, and I learn it because I want to know, because I want to, because I wish I was British. I don't know why. But that cultural curiosity is not just a waste of time. It's very important because when native English speakers speak, they refer to those things all the time. Now, American English is a little different because American culture is exported so widely around the world through tech, through movies and TV shows, through music. And so it's a little easier to access because American pop culture is kind of a global export, probably more than any other culture, for better or worse. It just is. So that's it. That makes it even easier, I think, for American culture specifically. But it is important. Okay. Number eight. Who can be a bit abrasive, me or Jeremy Clarkson? Yeah. His abrasiveness is the thing I love about Jeremy Clarkson. That's what is my favorite thing. I wish I was more abrasive. I want to be abrasive like Jeremy Clarkson. Yeah, he hates Americans, which is also abrasive. But that's funny too. It's great. I'm on a Clarkson binge right now. I'm watching him host Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm watching him host Top Gear, old Top Gear episodes. Rewatching Grand Tour, Clarkson's Farm. I don't know. I get on these binges, and I'm currently on a Clarkson binge. It is what it is. Tiger Cat says, who are you voting for, Kamala or Trump, and why? I probably, yeah, he does hate everybody. You know what? I don't think I'm going to vote. I don't think I'm going to vote. I think that's my vote. I don't think it matters that much. I'm not sure if it does, but I don't know. I'm not totally decided. Anyway, back to the topic. Okay. Number 8. Writing number 8 down. Number 8 is, this is the last one. I mean, we're going to review quickly because I think this is really important stuff. Number 8 is feedback. Feedback. This is feedback from people, but it's also any way that you can get it. We tend to, when we use language, just kind of blast it out there, whether written or spoken, and we don't seek ways to improve. Now, I'm in a very lucky situation where people are writing comments on YouTube and courses. I see feedback all the time. Good feedback, bad feedback. There was a comment from yesterday on a video. I posted a video, and the first comment, you go look at the last video I posted on the Meta AI glasses. The first comment on the video, which had nothing to do with the comment, apparently, was, "This is not my elbow." And I thought about it all day. I've been thinking about "this is not my elbow" all day long. And I responded to the comment, basically. And I'm confused. Anyway, that was not feedback. But feedback would be anything from how I explain things people like, things people find annoying, and I listen. And I try to improve. But I also watch myself when I'm editing my courses, right? I have to watch myself a lot. Stupid noises. What are you doing with what is that? Why do you move your hands so much? I can't help that. But all of those things, that's feedback too. I may proactively seek feedback. What do you think of this format? What do you think of this style? What do you think of how I explained this? Be brutally honest with me, right? So there's so many different kinds of feedback. There's also just how people respond to me. If I really pay attention, I may be trying a little too hard in this situation to be funny. Maybe I should just, sit back and listen. Why am I trying to be the center of attention here? I should just shut up because I think I'm making them uncomfortable. So trying to be extremely self-aware is useful, even if you fail. It's trying to be self-aware and actively seeking feedback from others, while initially painful, gets easier over time. I personally currently love brutally honest critical feedback, right? I love it. Bring it on, please. Tear me to shreds. I'm all ears. I love it. And what you get for that is a constant way to iterate, right? If you're just blasting your language out there without any feedback loops built in, then it's going to be hard to improve, right? So it's very important. Now, you can do some objective feedback. You can take TOEFL tests, TOEFL, IELTS evaluations. You could do the Duolingo free English test. All of those are good, but it's very important to have some kinds of feedback as part of your fluency journey. So let's go through all 8. Number 1, listening comprehension. Number 2, speaking skills. Number 3, vocabulary expansion. Number 4, grammar proficiency. Number 5, pronunciation and accent. Number 6, writing skills. Number 7, cultural understanding. And number 8, feedback. Let's see if I can do the Chinese ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Is that 7? Is that 6? 7? And which one is 8? 8, I forget 8. 8. And then 10. I forget 8 and 9. You can do it all with one hand. We do this stupid thing like this. My wife always laughs at me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She thinks that's so childish and dumb, which is true. All right. Mary McCain says, don't let any politician lose your train of thought. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. What if you were Italian and teacher at the same time, Luke? Italian and a teacher at the same time. Does this have to do with the elbow comment? What if you were Italian and a teacher at the same time? Are you recommending I change my nationality? I could go for Italian. Diego says, Pause Shop is excellent show to acquire new vocabulary and expressions. Highly recommend. Pause Shop. Okay, good one. Bia is voting for Kamala. Okay, very good. I'm bringing a lone show. I'm binging, binging a lone show. Okay, I'll have to check that one out. A lone show. Bia says, I think your English is clear and easier, but when it's British or Australian, it's next level hard. Again, that's just what you're used to, right? Tiger Cat says, vote Trump for Save the USA. Okay, thank you for that. Oh, Italian hand movements. Yeah. Well, the Italian hand movements, I wonder if there's a dialect for hand movements, because I move my hands a lot and I don't like that I do it, but I can't stop. Sometimes for my courses, I will take my hands and put them under my legs like this to force myself to just talk and talk. And sometimes I pull one out and it starts going like this. It's really frustrating, but I'm because my father's does a lot of public speaking, and he always does a lot of hand gestures, and so I kind of probably learned it from him, and so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I feel like Americans are so kind of, we move a lot and we open our mouths very wide, and I find us to be quite annoying as a people in terms of communicators personally, and I am one, and I can't help it. Alone is a survival competition show. Defo, check it out. It's awesome. Alone. Let me see. Alone survival show. Is this something like Survivor? Oh, it looks like it's more sort of out in the Yukon, or out in the wilderness. Wow, it's on History Channel. Looks pretty cool. Okay, I'll check that out. It's on Netflix as well. Okay, maybe I'll check it out on Netflix. Yeah, and then the Italian hand gestures are more, I feel like they're more refined, a little bit more, refined is the word I want to use. They're more refined. And the American hand gestures are sort of like this. We're always making shapes with our hands. It's wacky. Okay. All right, thank you for the recommendations, and good to know who everyone is voting for. I will say there's one issue that would make me vote for probably one or the other candidate. There's one issue, and that would make me become a voter. Only one that I can think of, and I'll leave it at that. Okay. Moving on. We're gonna watch the clip. Did I miss any questions? Let's see. There's a guy from Labrador with a very amusing Irish accent, like in season 11. I love the Irish accent as well. A strong Irish accent. Jeremy Clarkson's girlfriend from the show Clarkson's Farm. I actually finished it. I'm very sad because I watched all 3 seasons, and I want the next season. I know he opened a new restaurant and a bunch of stuff happened, but it's not out yet, so hopefully soon. Every conceivable thing goes wrong in the show. That's why it's so entertaining. But his girlfriend is from Ireland, and I love the way that she says idiot. So a British person would say idiot, and an American person would say idiot. Pretty similar. But in Ireland, they say Egypt. Like Egypt. He's such an Egypt. I love it. It's great. Bia says, I've been watching cartoons lately, and I actually like them. Yeah, I love cartoons too. I love cartoons. I like anime and cartoons. There's some good anime. Cartoon, my favorite cartoon is probably, I think I have to say that Avatar: The Last Airbender is a cartoon. Because if you try to say that's an anime, people get very upset because it's not an anime because it wasn't made in Japan. But it's more like an anime than a cartoon, but we're not allowed to say that. So, yes, Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra are amazing. I love those shows. SpongeBob is also great. I grew up on SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob. I'll watch an episode of SpongeBob sometimes just because. And I'm looking forward to introducing my son to SpongeBob. Because the humor, I feel like SpongeBob is one of those shows where, yes, it is a kid's show, but the humor is I think, just as funny for adults. It's just as good. Yeah, there's some good animes. Okay. All right. Let's get into this next thing that we're going to do. If I missed any questions, let me know. Let's hop over to this. This is going to be a clip from Inside Out 2, a scene from Inside Out 2. And there's quite a lot of things I want to talk about here. Hold on a second before we start. We're going to be stopping it as we go and kind of pulling out language. And discussing it, but we're going to go through this whole 3-minute clip here. There's a lot of stuff in this short space to learn. Okay. Have you ever seen Dragon Ball Z? Yes, I have seen Dragon Ball Z. Naruto? Yes, I have seen Naruto. Shippuden, I have not seen. Ranma, I have not seen. Ranma 1/2, I haven't seen that. No, I have not. I've seen One Punch Man, I like, and I like One Piece, I like pretty well. And I like the live-action One Piece show, too. Pat and Matt, the cartoon anime, was my most hated when I was a kid. Pat and Matt cartoon. Okay, I've never heard of this. It looks like a stop motion style of animation with the two guys who live together, maybe? A red shirt and a yellow shirt? Got it. I've never seen Pat and Matt. I've never even heard of Pat and Matt. All right, I'm quite curious about this. Let's see. Let's watch a Pat and Matt. Definitely a kid's show. Okay, we're gonna get claimed if we watch too much of that. So, all right, I think I get the idea. I have to check that out. Pat and Matt, very nice. Okay. Without further ado, we shall now watch this scene from the motion picture called Inside Out 2.
So, as it turns out, the green trash can is not recycling. It's for greens, like compost and eggshells. And the
eggshells are not green.
blue one is recycling. And the black one...
Riley is acting so weird. Why is she acting so weird?
What do you expect? All the islands are down.
What do you expect? All the islands are down. So let's go back through that and listen for what do you expect?
Like compost and eggshells. And the blue one is recycling. And the black one...
Riley is acting so weird. Why is she acting so weird?
What do you...
So if you don't know, just for context, this might help. These are both great movies, Inside Out and Inside Out 2. Pixar movies where the characters that you see here are the emotions of the characters. So they're kind of in their heads, and these are the different emotions that they have.
Expect all the islands.
And the black one...
Riley is acting so weird. Why is she acting so weird?
What do you expect? All the islands are down.
Joy...
What do you expect? All the islands are down. Okay, so isn't this a part of a movie? Copyright infringement? No. Okay, so let me explain how this works. If we just sit here and watch a movie, and let's say Inside Out 2, then that is copyright infringement 100%. But if it's what's called transformative, right, where you're not watching this clip with me because you want to watch this movie. I'm not just showing you this movie. I'm teaching you, the purpose of watching this clip is that I'm teaching you phrases from a very short clip piece by piece. Would be a brutal experience to watch. If I want to watch Inside Out 2, I'm going to go to Luke's live stream and watch him talk about 5-second chunks, right? That is not copyright infringement. It's called fair use. This is what's called transformative, especially because it's for educational purposes. I'm teaching you specific language from movies. So we can do this. Now they can, let's say they try to claim this. Sometimes that's happened, to claim a section, right? They can, sometimes something will get demonetized or something. It has happened. But if it were to be like a lawsuit for any reason, I would win. Because it's obviously not me showing you a movie. I'm transforming this media for the purposes of education. You can't interpret it any other way. Now, we have in the past, and Mary McCain will remember this, watch movies, whole movies with almost no commentary, basically just watching it. I had to search and search and search and search to find old movies, like 50 or 60 years old, that were copyright free, royalty free. And that was fun, but it was so hard to find, right? Those are royalty free. So that's a different thing. So it's complicated, but there's a legal framework for it. YouTube is known for its fair and very smart copyright bots. Exactly. YouTube moderates it pretty well. And so this I have nothing to worry about here, because what I'm doing is totally allowed. However, if I were to just watch this movie, then yeah, the stream would get taken down, basically. That's what would happen.
Would know what to do.
That's it. Until she gets...
Okay, so what do you expect is an expression that's used when you are frustrated with another person for not seeing the obvious, right? So for whatever reason, these islands are down, and that's causing this issue that's happening, right? She's experiencing these emotions, and of course it's that way. What do you expect? It couldn't be any other way. That's what I'm saying. This is the only way it could be, and for you to not recognize that means you're kind of dense or not very intelligent. So what do you expect is almost sharing frustration at you for not realizing the obvious. Okay, can it be rude? Sure. But it's kind of also that you should have, why are you even asking? It's stupid question, basically, obviously. I remember it like it was yesterday, the good old days. Listen, if somebody were to find me a list of movies that are definitely copyright free, definitely, and share it with me, and I can verify it, I will do movie nights again. It was just hours and hours of work for me to find the movie. And that's the issue. It was so much work. Maybe there's an easier way now. I don't know. It was some time ago. But it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was good fun. All right, let's keep going.
Back, we just do what Joy would do.
Great idea. Anger, fear, disgust. How are we supposed to be happy?
Those are the emotions. Anger is the red one, fear is the purple one, and disgust is the green one.
Hey, Riley, I've got good news.
How are we supposed to do that? I didn't write that one down, but how are we supposed to do that?
Disgust. How are we supposed to be happy?
Hey, Riley.
How are we supposed to do that? Basically, again, expressing frustration. If I don't have the experience or knowledge to do something, why do you expect me to? How am I supposed to know? Hey, how do I fix this? How am I supposed to know? I don't know anything about that. Almost expressing frustration at you.
I've got good news. I found a junior hockey league right here in San Francisco, and get this, tryouts are tomorrow after school. What luck, right?
Hockey.
Uh-oh.
Get this, and I'm also going to bring up this one too. We'll talk about both because they're so close together. Here we go.
Hey, Riley, I've got good news. I found a junior hockey league right here in San Francisco, and get this.
Junior Hockey League. They're talking about hockey because Riley's the daughter and she likes hockey.
Tryouts are tomorrow after school. What? Go and get this. Tryouts are tomorrow after school.
So get this is when you're probably giving a list of things, giving some information. You want to now focus on one particular thing. It's the best piece of the stuff that I'm sharing with you, right? Often when you find a good deal, when you get lucky, right? You hear great news, and this is the best part of the great news. When maybe there's a list of requirements, and one of the requirements is more extreme than the others, could be in a bad way. So it's usually used for good things, but it could be for bad things too. They need us to submit this form and this, and we have to provide this, and get this, there's a $500 fee. So that's a bad thing. This is a good thing. Get this. So she's saying, now pay attention to this part. Okay? And then what luck, right? That's basically saying it's unlikely that this happened, but it did happen. It did happen.
On a junior hockey.
Check if the Great Dictator is royalty free. We tried to watch 12 Angry Men. That failed.
League right here in San Francisco, and get this. Tryouts are tomorrow after school.
So the tryouts are tomorrow. That's big news, right? That's exciting.
What luck, right?
Huh?
What luck, right? We're so lucky. We're so lucky. Get this is usually when you're excited about something. Usually some kind of good news.
Uh-oh, what do we do?
Guys, here, you pretend to be Joy.
Won't it be great to be back out on the ice?
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Okay. I want to just note this. There's some sarcasm in this conversation, in this scene. So just pay attention to the tone. I don't know if this is American sarcasm or just sarcasm in general, but there's this that sort of tone, however you would describe that, up and down kind of thing. When you hear that, we often describe that as a sarcastic tone. Because if you were to just read the words, right, listen to what she says.
To be back out on the ice?
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. If you just read it and it's just sentences and you just read, oh yeah, that sounds fantastic, what would you think? Well, you would think that she's excited. Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. But because of the way she says it in the sarcastic tone, it's not fantastic. It's the opposite. So sarcasm, usually you say it this way. You say this thing. It means the opposite thing. But the only way that you know it means the opposite thing is that you use the sarcastic tone, or some people even go further and they say the opposite thing with no sarcastic tone. Well, then how do you know they're being sarcastic? This is the problem I have. Nobody knows when I'm being sarcastic. People around me are constantly confused. Because I don't use the sarcastic tone, but I'm often sarcastic. And so there, it's really context-based. So you have to really pay attention. You have to know this person, know they wouldn't say that in this situation, know that they mean the opposite probably because of the fact that they said it in this situation. So that gets to a deeper level of sarcasm, which is harder to detect. And that's where I tend to live my whole life. But this is called the sarcastic tone. Amar says, Warakman says, did mom know she's being sarcastic? I think so. We'll see that in a second. I think she just wants the subject to end, so she accepts everything. But for her, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think that's right, Bia. I think you got it. This sarcasm is part of human nature. Tonation is identical in all languages I speak. That is interesting. I'm glad I know that now. Could you give me some examples? I haven't heard that before. That's great that it's universal. That makes me happy to hear. Right, so it's great. Sarcasm sounds the same in every language. It's the bold statement. Oh, you say every language you speak. All right, well, find out if it's true in every language in the world. That's what I want to know.
What was that? That wasn't anything like Joy.
Because I'm not Joy?
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Now we're in the
wrong.
mom's
Should we
head.
have-
Look at them. Look at them. Look at these. Look at these ladies. These are the emotions in her head. Okay. Did you pick up on that? Did you pick up on that? Okay. So to answer Waracorn's question, yes, she did pick up on that. So to pick up on that means to notice something that's not very obvious, right? To pick up on sarcasm, for example. To pick up on an attitude. To pick up on something that's not directly said or not directly stated, where you have to infer it from observation or intuit it somehow, right?
Not joy?
Yeah, no kidding.
Amar then says, well, I can't give an example in writing, Luke. Now, can I? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, all right. Try, though.
What was that? That wasn't anything like joy.
Because
harder.
I'm not joy?
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Did.
Something's wrong.
Should we ask her?
Did you guys pick up on that? Now, this is when somebody missed something, like sarcasm, for example. So a classic example would be, I make a sarcastic comment. The other person thinks I'm serious. I'm not. They then make a comment or a statement because they think I'm being serious. Well, really? I don't know. And I say, yes, I know, I was being sarcastic. Then they say, well, I didn't pick up on that. Oh, okay, I didn't pick up on that. They didn't pick up on it. They didn't get that. Their intuition didn't get that.
Let's probe, but keep it subtle.
Oh, I don't want to miss this word. Let's probe.
Did. Something's wrong.
Should we ask her?
Let's probe, but keep it subtle so she doesn't notice.
So, how was the first day of school?
She's probing us.
I'm done.
Okay, so probe is to investigate something a little deeper, to push forward, to inspect something more carefully. But they say probe, but be subtle. Don't be obvious. So sometimes a probe is an investigation. Sometimes a probe is a little spacecraft that goes out into space, or a thing that goes underwater, like a little submarine with a camera to kind of look around in advance. It's not the whole thing, right? It's a thing that moves out to explore and learn more and gain a deeper understanding. Sometimes you hear it used as a noun, right? So, for example, the probe into the company's wrongdoings uncovered blah, blah, blah. Or you could describe probe as a verb. You could say, after probing further, I decided that actually I was wrong and apologized. So it can be used either way, as a noun or as a verb.
You pretend to be joy.
What? Okay.
It was fine, I guess. I don't know. Oh, very smooth. That was just like joy.
Something is definitely going on.
She's never acted
Okay,
like
let's
this
go back
before.
to very
Very
smooth.
smooth. That was just like joy.
Something is
Fine, I guess. I don't know. Oh, very smooth. That was just like joy.
Okay, again, did you pick up on that? Sarcasm. Oh, very smooth. That was just like joy. Again, if you read that, that was very smooth. That was just like joy. Very literal, right? Actually, she's saying that, but if you listen to the tone, she is also being sarcastic. She doesn't mean that either, right? Oh, very smooth. So if you say, oh, very smooth, that was very smooth, then you're very, I don't know, the way you communicate very naturally, you convince somebody of something, you got out of a tricky situation using your language, maybe your cleverness, right? Your persuasive skills, and when someone compliments you on doing that, getting out of an awkward situation somehow, we say, oh, that was very smooth. Nice job. So it's a way to compliment people. But if you say it with a sarcastic tone, it means that was not very smooth. That was a terrible thing to do. You did the wrong thing. You're an idiot, basically. Oh, that was very smooth. That sounded exactly like joy, meaning that was not very smooth. That was not a good thing to say. That didn't sound anything like joy, is what that actually means.
something is definitely going on.
Just like joy. Very smooth. That was
And because of that, now the mother knows something is wrong. Because it didn't sound like joy. Now the mother has picked up that something is going on. She's not She doesn't sound like herself. She doesn't sound like herself.
Just like Joy.
Something is definitely going on.
She's never acted like this before. What should we do? We're going to find out what's happening, but we'll need support. Signal the husband.
You know how this is going to go, right? Signal the husband.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say?
What? Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening.
Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it?
I understand this experience. I know what this is. I think a lot of husbands understand this feeling. What? I want to know what I did. What did I do? It's universal too. I wonder, Amar, is that also universal?
Woman, what?
He's making that stupid face again.
I could strangle him right now.
Signal
I
him.
could strangle him. Okay, I see that I've, let's see. Let me bring that one up. Okay. I could strangle him right now. I could strangle him right now. Okay. To say I could strangle someone is a way to express your anger and frustration. I could strangle you right now. I could strangle you. It's pretty much only used when you are talking to another person or about another person or about some people. I could strangle them right now. Most of the time, right now is added. It doesn't have to be, but most of the time, right now is added. Usually, you wouldn't use it to describe how other people feel about other people or yourself. It would be weird to say, they could strangle them. They could strangle them. They could strangle us. Generally, it's only used in the first person. Ugh. I could strangle you right now. Now, how violent is that? Because strangle sounds like a pretty violent thing to do, right? We don't really think about the actual violence. It just means I'm so mad at you. I'm frustrated at you in this moment. And it's not really that serious. It's actually a fairly mild comment to make. It's not very extreme. Even though strangling is extreme, the comment itself is fairly minor as a criticism or as an expression of frustration. I could strangle him.
Again. He's making that stupid face again.
I could strangle him right now.
Signal him again.
Ah, so, Riley, how was school?
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? He missed the cue. He missed the cue.
This, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot?
Move! I'll be Joy.
School was great, all right?
Riley, is everything okay?
Now that, school was great, all right. You could say, is not sarcasm as much as just a way to say I'm frustrated. Again, using the tone of voice. It's less about sarcasm and more about an expression of an emotion.
Ah, so, Riley, how was school?
Are you kidding me?
For this, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot?
Move! I'll be Joy.
School was great, all right?
Riley, is everything okay?
Sir, she just rolled her eyes at us.
What is her deal?
What is her deal? Okay, now we're in the dad's head.
All right?
Riley, is everything okay?
Wait, Amara, what do we all know? We all know, Luke, we all know. Oh, yeah, I see that comment, the husband thing. I know it sounds like an excuse to say, well, men are this way, or husbands are this way, but I haven't encountered an exception. I'm married. I've been married for more than 10 years. And it happens where I don't see things that my dear wife who may be watching sees, right? And that's just how I just don't. And so sometimes I really feel like that guy where I'm just I'm thinking, okay, I'm picking up on some clues here, body language. She's not happy about something. What's going on? What was it? Then I think to myself, did I do this? Did I do that? Take out the trash? I'm going through things that I may have done wrong. I really resonate with that scene because I've experienced it many times and probably will many more times.
Okay?
Sir, she just rolled her eyes at us.
What is her deal?
Okay.
All right.
So what is your deal is when I don't like your attitude. You're reacting in a way that it makes me a little uncomfortable or makes me feel like, you're misbehaving or behaving in a bad way, right? I thought you would react this way and you're reacting a different way, or you should react this way, or you're actually reacting this way, right? I expected this, I'm getting this. And that makes me angry or uncomfortable or frustrated. If it's a parent, that makes me feel like you're misbehaving or being a bad kid. So you wouldn't say that to the kid, hey, what is your deal? Probably, because I don't know, that just doesn't sound right to me. But that might be how you feel. But you could react to someone like this if what they've done is so contrary to your expectations, how they're reacting, how they're behaving, and you say, what is your deal, almost to confront them. So it's kind of a confrontational phrase. Be careful with it. It's not something you use as a minor criticism, like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or, okay, interesting. It's a confrontational phrase, basically like pulling out a finger and pointing at them in the face and saying, hey, you're being weird. You're acting strangely. What's wrong with you? It feels like that. It's like pointing at someone and accusing them. What is your deal? Okay, so it's going to lead to an argument. It's going to lead to a discussion. So you would only use it when you're ready to start fighting with somebody, generally, or as a comment to yourself.
Make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
No.
Make a show of force. Show of force means not real force, but just a show of force would be you fire the missile above their heads or something like that.
All right, make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
No, not the foot.
Riley, I do not.
Down.
What is it, woman? What?
Brazilian helicopter.
Lee, is everything okay?
All right, make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
I don't want to have to put the foot down. So making a show of force is to signal that if you don't correct your behavior, there will be real force, a show of force, firing the missile over their heads, right? Shooting a gun in the air, that kind of thing. It's not real force because I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I'm showing that I can, right? But putting your foot down means, yes, to physically put your foot down, but the way that it is used to put your foot down is to actually do something, to actually punish somebody, to say, you have to stop, you're grounded, go to your room. Often parents use, I need to put my foot down, basically to say, this is where it ends, and I'm going to punish you in some way, right? No dessert after dinner. I had to put my foot down. After, reminding my son 300 times to put his jacket away and he didn't do it, I had to finally put my foot down. And so I don't know how to punish kids. My son is 1, so I have no idea. But whatever parents do these days, I'll have to figure that out, I guess.
No.
What is her deal? All right, make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
I don't want to have to put the foot down. I don't want to have to. So he hasn't yet. So he's going to do something that isn't that yet.
No, not the foot.
Riley, I do not like this new attitude.
Oh, I'll show you attitude. No. Stay happy.
What is your problem? Just leave me alone.
Sir, reporting high levels of sass.
High levels of sass. What is your problem? Leave me alone. So he did a show of force, and she gave him back sass, being sassy. It's an attitude of a slight disrespectful attitude, not too serious, but, like what she did. That is sass, often as an adjective. Sassy, which has a slightly different connotation, but sass as a noun is sort of kind of disrespectful, disrespectful attitude toward people, figures of authority, perhaps, or anyone, really. Levels of sass.
To DEFCON 2.
You heard that, gentlemen? DEFCON 2.
Listen, young lady, I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from.
You want a piece of this, Pops? Come and get it!
Yeah, well,
Here it comes. Prepare the foot.
Keys to safety position.
He's going to deploy the foot. So now it's going from sass to just being disrespectful, deeply disrespectful of her father.
Ready to launch on your command, sir.
just shut up!
Fire!
That's it. Go to your room.
That's it. Go to your room. Okay. So that's it is often the phrase that is used when you put your foot down. That's it. This is the end. This is the end of what's going wrong. This is the end of the bad thing that's happening. That's it. Or you want to quit something. You're so frustrated. You've been trying for 6 hours to figure this out, right? That's it. I give up. Or that's it. I'm going to stop for today, right? Or that's it. I need to go to bed. I'm exhausted, right? Whatever is happening now in this situation, it's putting the foot down, ending this bad attitude, this bad behavior. But whatever is going on that's negative, that's getting worse, whether it's sleepiness or an impossible problem or frustrating situation or whatever, you're now going to basically hit a red button and stop it. Stop it by going to bed because you're so tired. Stop it by giving up for today or forever. Stop it by calling a friend to ask for help, right? That's it. I can't do this by myself. Kevin, can you please come and help me? So something happens to stop it. You're hitting a big red button, and that's it, is kind of the marker to do that, to transition from trying to suddenly I'm done. And then moving on to whatever the solution is, or if you give up, just giving up. But in this case, that's it. No more of this attitude. Go to your room.
Now.
Ready to launch on your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire!
That's it. Go to your room. Now.
The foot is down. The foot is down.
Good job, gentlemen. That could have been a disaster.
Well, that was a disaster.
Come, fly with me, Gachinya.
That's the helicopter pilot they referred to before, who she wishes she would have married instead of her stupid husband. Quite funny. All right. So that's it. Sass. Put the foot down. What's her deal? I could strangle him. Very smooth. Probe. Pick up on that. Sarcasm. What luck? Get this. And what do you expect? Quite a few useful little bits of language from this very short clip, this very short scene from this movie. So I really enjoy doing these. If there are other movies you would like me to do or other TV shows you'd like me to check out, I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. So let me know in the comments, and also let me know about the news idea segment if that's something that would be interesting, because I think it would be timely and relevant, and I don't know, might be cool. Language, region, country are just minor differences. We all act basically the same, except for Canadians. Yes, I agree. Except for Canadians. All right, I think it's time to call it a day. Friends, neighbors, we're going to skip the phrasal verbs that I had planned on doing. I must take my leave now, says Bia, but I will conclude later. We're finishing up right now, Bia, so thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully you learned some useful things. Thank you, everyone, very much for joining. Again, you can grab a free course in the links in the description. You can join the Discord for free. If you're watching, you can listen. Check out the links in the description or search Cloud English on any podcasting platform. If you're listening and you'd like to watch, you can do that on YouTube and Facebook, and live at around 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Again, drop your suggestions in the comments if you want to see movies and TV show clips, which ones, and other ideas. I'm, all ears, and comments are certainly welcome. Check out my new video if you haven't seen it already. I reviewed the Meta Ray-Ban glasses as a language learning tool. It's pretty cool, I think. Very interesting. I think it's kind of the future of language learning, but not exactly, but kind of. So check that video out. It's the most recent video I posted on the channel. Thanks again. Good luck. Have a fantastic weekend, fantastic week, and I will see you in the next one.